Hey guys, welcome to aKqVaint, and today we are going to discuss a very important topic on economic liberalization and its faults. I am Kranthi Kiran and let's start a show. During the last 3 decades, we have been listening over 3 terms very importantly, and those 3 terms are liberalization, globalization and privatization. What does this actually mean? Let me tell you, during the 1980s, the world has expanded and the economy is under a very great expansion. And that's how today a middle class student or a student from a very poor background is able to go to foreign and have studies, and many people are actually having their employment in other states and other countries. Due to this liberalization, privatization, globalization, famously known as LPG system, there are a lot of beneficiaries who have been benefited on backgrounds such as education, employment, health sectors and so on. Let's discuss each of these in detail and how is it right now related to COVID-19 pandemic. Before 30 years, there used to be a lot of restrictions on education, employment, economic efficiency, industries, factories. There used to be no choice and there used to be very limited resources for any product to be manufactured or any product to be imported or exported. Let me tell you the scenario during the last 30 years. There have been many economic barriers which are lifted throughout all the countries, throughout the nation, in order to increase the raw material supply, in order to increase the labor, and in order to decrease the manufacturing cost and give away the product at a very minimal cost. But this has turned into an unfettered, unbridled globalization and unbridled liberalization. How is this actually limited? How is this actually related to our right now situation, COVID-19 pandemic? Let me tell you, America, Europe. You would be seeing in the news that these are the most affected countries across the world due to the pandemic COVID-19. But why? I'll give you some facts. America and Europe are the governments which believe that government should play no role in a business to business transaction. That means a government will not have any rights in asking a business to give information regarding what they are producing, what is the quality, what is the quantity, and what is the amount of raw materials and labor or the economic reforms which they have been taking. And let us take the main case where America is facing this situation. I'll tell you, after the globalization or the privatization has taken a very big boom in their country, the government stopped asking information to each and every company. They stopped asking what is actually going on in their company and what is the amount of products or the cost of the equipment they are having or the capability of the equipment of producing raw materials. The main aim of America to provide such liberal economic reforms is to increase participation and is to increase competition across the competitors of that particular industry. Due to this, the raw material, the labor cost will be cut down to a great extent and the world will be having a very reformed way of getting things done. Now, you will be having a doubt, America being a very big nation, also referred to as the #1 country in the world and also having the biggest military base, not able to fight COVID-19 pandemic. Why is this? There are no PPE, there are no masks, there are no ventilators, there is no medical equipment, there is no health diagnostics. Why is this situation? I'll tell you. When the economy is open during the 1970s and 1980s in America, where the companies are asked to spread away their branches to different parts of the world, America is one of the leading country where it started stretching its wings across the world. Right now, Mr. Trump, the President of America, invoked a very important act called Defense Production Act 1950. Under this Defense Production Act 1950, what can America do? America can ask all of its industries, companies, factories to produce what the government wants but not what the company wants. Where are all the socialist reforms who accused that the government is not asking any type of is not giving any type of liberty, is not being privatized, are now complaining how can the US government order some of its companies to just act according to the government will. This is what actually happened because of liberalization and globalization. According to this, any American company can ask any of its branches located across any part of the world to just produce for America. I'll repeat, I'll just give you an example of how is this being disregarded. In China, there's an American company called 3M, and this 3M company has produced masks, and those masks should go for Germany. But in Thailand airport, they have shifted all of these masks to America. And there are many examples regarding this issue where the America is asking to just produce equipment only for Americans' sake. Not only in America, the same situation is being in many parts of the world, and in leading competitors such as Britain. It asked most of its companies to only produce ventilators and nationalized all of the companies. In Spain, all the private hospitals are nationalized. In France, all the vaccine companies are nationalized. And this is how the liberalization, globalization, privatization has taken a 180-degree turn, and it's been completely disregarded as one of the biggest blunders of the world economy. Let us now discuss the situation of India during this COVID-19 crisis and how liberalization has affected our country. The first and foremost thing I would like to discuss is during the 1991-1992 financial year budget speech, the then Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh has invoked License Raj Act. What is actually License Raj? Under this License Raj Act, each and every company who are willing to put up shares or put up investment should take permissions, licenses from the government and then start their production. And this is how it used to be from 1951 to 1991. But the father of Indian economic reforms, Mr. Narasimha Rao Garu, the then former Prime Minister, he is the one behind opening up Indian economy to the world and putting India on the world map. But how did it affect the right now COVID-19 situation? Let's discuss. There's a very famous mathematician, and he introduced a topic called import substitution. Under this import substitution, a formula where before importing any product from a foreign country, do we have the capacity to produce it in our world? That under this formula, each and every product which we are using right now have been taken care between the License Raj Act was given. But after the invokement of License Raj, what did private companies do? Private companies always look for profits. And during this time, it is once again clear that what is good for the company may not be good for the country. And I would also like to tell you, they started making profits, and due to this market competition, they started importing raw material and they started giving up their own market to the international market. What I mean by giving up to international market, they started putting up manufacturing companies manufacturing units and started using the cheap labor, where China proved out to be a very good market leader in providing raw materials at a very cheaper cost and providing a very cheap labor. And that is how the liberalization has now made a very big impact in our country. Let me explain. The most affected unit right now in India is the health sector, and that is why we are not able to fight the pandemic. How did this affect health sector? In order to make any medical component or any medical equipment, we need to have intermediaries. What are actually intermediaries? Intermediaries are some equipment which are between the finished good and the processed good, and these are the equipments which we need in order to complete a finished good. And the main component of these intermediaries are active pharmaceutical ingredients, also known as API. Before some years, India used to produce API on its own, but right from some years, it started importing all of its API from China. According to a report from CII, also known as Confederation of Indian Industries, 70% of Indian API is being imported from China. 70%, I repeat. Out of this 70%, 100% imported reagents from China, and 90 to 100% of 58 types of API are being only produced in China, and we are importing from China. Why is this? Because we have given the liberty to all the private companies that the government will not be involved. You can do whatever you want. You can bring out raw material from where you want. You can put up your industries wherever you want. And this is how the Indian government is being run right from 1991. And we have been very proud that we gave hydroxychloroquine to America, right? But let me clear you that the reagent which we use to manufacture hydroxychloroquine, we import it from China. Without that reagent, we cannot manufacture hydroxychloroquine. Let me tell you, because of this liberalization, it did not only affect the health sector in producing equipment or producing the intermediaries, it also affected our Indian people by not providing sufficient kits to find out whether we are having COVID-19 or not. Let me explain. Why are we actually not able to make COVID-19 tests at a faster rate across the nation? Because a single test cost is about 4,500 rupees. And that is the main reason why we are not able to make tests at a very faster rate. I would also like to tell you, the main chemical component which is used to make a test should be exported from China. And that is the main reason why we are not able to generate a lot of testing kits each and every single day. The price of each testing kit is very high, and the quantity which we are exporting from abroad is very, very low as compared to the required number of testing kits. On the other hand, China is also not having the required quantity to export to other nations, because the pandemic over there is also so worsened that it actually needs for its own nation. And I would like to conclude by saying that the globalization and liberalization at this faster rate, unfettered, unbridled, has made the pandemic much more worsened. Thank you. That's it for the day. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more videos.